These stories are hard for me to hear every time because they're real. And I look at the faces of these women, at the faces of these children that you hear about every day, and this is a part of their daily life. This is a fear that the kids have, kids in Cambodia that are vulnerable and are at risk. They see children in their neighborhood being sold on a daily basis. Mothers, this is a solution to their problems. Mothers that were abused and exploited themselves and are working in prostitution or collecting garbage and have no education, have no other means of an income, perhaps were trafficked and locked in a room like Annie described and were given drugs, and now this is their destiny. But there's hope, and that hope is Jesus. And the places where we work are some of the darkest in Cambodia. God told us specifically to go into these dark places. They're the places of the deep corruption where the prostitutes and the thieves and the drug dealers and the traffickers live and work. And they're the areas where, as Patricia said, babies are being sold. We've planted ourselves here, and we've actually been given a strategy to rent houses in the slum community. And what these houses do is they allow us to build relationship to where we're able to be trusted in the community. Some of the areas have been very, very hard. They've been tough ground that we've plowed and we've plowed and we've plowed. And one of them in particular that I'm going to share with you about was extremely difficult. It was one that we went into and people said, "Why are you going there? That place is on the news every night and it's so dark. Why are you going there? Don't go there." But we just knew that God had told us to go into this community. This particular community, every single woman who is living in this community is working in prostitution. There's a trafficking ring that targets babies, infants, in this community and gets about 2 babies per month to traffic into Malaysia and then into China. Some of these babies are being sold into begging rings. Others are being sold for underground adoption. The ones that are sold for begging are given to women to make extra money on the streets. These women give the kids drugs. Many of them are drugged for 4 or 5 years. They're used as begging props. When they get older and they don't get as much compassion from the older children anymore, then they're sold and they're resold again, some for sex, others for begging. Many of them end up then older and working in prostitution, but we recently had information given to us over the last 2 years, very specific information about this particular trafficking ring. Specifics that were just brought to investigators who said, "How do you know this information? How did you ever get these witnesses to come forward that shared with you?" And it's truly an act of God. We still don't know how it happened. Women just came to us and started sharing information, and after they did, we would have them just, "I can't believe I shared that." And other women next to them saying, "Are you kidding? I can't believe you just told them that. You're going to get killed." But we were able to collect over the course of 2 years enough information that now, actually just before we came here, we did an interview with the anti-trafficking police, and this trafficking ring is coming down. And these babies are going to be safe. We had a little girl, actually, again, just before I came on this trip, and her mother was just about to sell her, 2 months old. I look at little Kiana Joy, Faiteen's daughter, and you look at how precious, how innocent she is. I look at this little girl that we call Sarah. Every day I go in and look at her because she's just so beautiful, and she almost had a different life. She almost had a different life had God not intervened. We were able to hear about what was happening and intervened right at the time, and it was at a point where her mom was just in a state of hopelessness. She had just been raped. She had been raped by a man who's also a known pedophile in the area, who drugged her, who began to film her and posted pornographic videos of her. And she said, I can't do it anymore. I have no money to feed my children, and I'm just going to get rid of my baby. And so we offered her a job in our women's training program. Her little girl is now safe in our daycare program. We're looking after her and her family. And her daughter will have a chance at a totally different life. She's coming into a relationship with Jesus, and we know that her children were too. And so as you hear these stories, please do not focus on the bigness of the problem. You will be held in fear and intimidation, and the enemy will keep you from doing nothing. But know that you have a part to play. Know that there is something. Please don't do nothing after you leave this conference. There's something that God would have you do. Whether it's to pray, whether it's to go, whether it's to give financially, whether it's to be a voice in your own community, there's something that you're called to do. And I just invite you to focus on the greatness and the bigness of God, because He's doing it. He's transforming nations, and He's doing it one life at a time.